here, this is an example of how you ask Cowork to perform a multi-step task. This is an example of something that would be an ad hoc task. And I actually use the real scenario because I think it's always more compelling to show something that is an actual requirement. And here, so we have a really nice website, which, however, needs a little bit of improvement because we've added a lot of new content to it lately, and we have a lot of services. And so that's one of the things we are aware of, is that it can be sometimes a little bit confusing for people who come onto our website to find their way towards what's right for them. So one thing that we're working on very actively right now is improving this so that it's easier for our visitors to find what they need on the website. And this is one example of how Cowork can help with a task like this, because a good starting point is to get an assessment if you want to improve something. What are the areas of the website that would benefit the most from being improved first? So if you want to do something like this, like the objective of this prompt is to get a website assessment, website health assessment. So here is how I prompt Cowork in these scenarios. First of all, you need to explain a little bit what your objective is. So here, help me improve the conversion of our company website for key persona. And here I linked a demo profile, but you would actually link the information related to your target persona. Act as a web design and web optimization expert and follow these steps. And this is essentially the key difference between working with Copilot and Cowork, which is that to work with Cowork, you need to give it all the steps. And it's very similar to if you were explaining someone who just joined your team, what's the process to follow. So here, for example, I'm asking it to search its knowledge in the web for the key principles that help build a website that converts, because it's important to have the right knowledge. So this is the grounding step. Then I'm asking it from that knowledge to draw the key criteria to assess a site's conversion health and what method to follow to measure it. And then I'm asking it to ground itself in the persona profile that I provided, and I explained this is the person for whom we're optimizing the site. So this is, and again, if you explained it to a person, it would be very similar, right? You would need to tell it first what knowledge it needs to use. And then I'm asking it to review our website, and I provided the URL, to identify our key strengths and our key weaknesses, and then to create an HTML report showing the conversion health with all this criteria. Now, HTML, that's my personal preference because I really like the way that Cowork designs HTMLs, and I find it very easy to read, easier than a Word document or a PDF. And so for me, it's just a good way of seeing the information. But you can ask for any document you want. It could be Word, it could be PDF, so PowerPoint, an Excel spreadsheet, so it can produce any documents you like. And then I'm asking it to save it into our marketing site, and I'm actually giving it the specific path to the folder that I'm looking for. And this step here is one of the things I really like about Cowork, because very often when I create a file, I don't need it to be inside the chat. I need it to be in a specific place so that I can find it again, so that my team can access it. And I find that AI saving the file in the right place for me actually, it accumulates. It's like small time savings that over time make a difference. So I'll show you now, when you enter this prompt, what happens. Let me find the right window. That is not the right window. This is, okay. So this is the prompt. And I've asked it to skip the save because it wasn't needed for that. So you can see that then it starts reflecting and it actually types things as it goes. So you can see the reflection process. And then when it's done, it gives you like a summary of what it did. And then it gives you the actual report, which I'm hoping will open. There you go. And you can see it's like a nice branded report. It's giving me a score. It's giving me the criteria that it's followed, the persona, So it's pulling everything important. And then the scorecard, which is the part I really want, with every key area. And honestly, it does a really good job of, I've used this in a number of scenarios, and it is really good at finding the right criteria and giving you assessments that make sense. It's not perfect, but it makes sense and it gives you a good place to start. So you can see easily what are the weaker areas. And then it tells you a summary of your key strengths and weaknesses, and then top 3 actions, and then recommended additional actions to take. So that's a document that we can actually use. And of course, we can refine it and work with Cowork on getting it even better. But honestly, if I were to do something like this by hand, it would take so much longer. And I find it always really helps me to get things done, to get those nice little starting reports.